Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Konrad Gorlinski. Well, it's the 11th day of the invasion of Ukraine, and many rumors abound, but it seems that Ukraine is holding its ground. Many soldiers in Ukraine are now preparing for an invasion of Kiev. And in the meantime, a website was created to find Russian prisoners of war in Ukraine, who, according to them, were convinced that they were only leaving for exercises.
Fierce fighting is taking place near Kiev. The Ukrainians are trying to prevent the encirclement and capture of the city. The soldiers prepare to repel another attack. We are fully equipped. We can defend ourselves. The positions are ready and we just wait for them to get here, but we'll chase them away. The victory will be ours. We equip our checkpoints, move forward with our rapid response groups when possible. Everything will be fine. During a press conference, Russian soldiers taken as prisoners called on their compatriots to do everything possible to end the war in Ukraine. Russians, rise up. Your children are here. The children of the Ukrainians also suffer. You don't have to be afraid of anyone. Ukrainians are not afraid. There are 2 young children in the house to whom I do not know if I will come back to. Parents, block the roads. Make sure that the Russian army turns back. The soldiers who surrendered voluntarily took part in the conference. Each of them spoke about good treatment and the possibility of contact with loved ones. Meanwhile, the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, warned the people of Odessa that Russian troops are preparing to bomb the city. The Russians have always visited Odessa. They have always experienced only hospitality and honesty there. What now? Bombs against Odessa? Artillery against Odessa? Rockets against Odessa? It will be a war crime. It will be a historical crime. The head of the Ukrainian delegation participating in talks with Russia, David Arakhamia, said that negotiations were underway to open a humanitarian corridor from Kharkiv. However, yesterday, despite assurances about the ceasefire in Mariupol and Volnovakha, a similar operation was interrupted by Russian shelling. They lied to us. They said there would be a ceasefire from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the day. They asked us to get ready. We did it. Despite the agreement, the Russian army shelled a convoy of buses and destroyed half of them. They didn't let us evacuate. The National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine has created a website that allows you to find Russian prisoners of war in Ukraine. In turn, the advisor to the head of the office of the President of Ukraine, Alexei Arestovich, announced the opening of camps for prisoners of war.
And the influx of refugees is only growing. The Polish government has promised to simplify the humanitarian aid procedure for its eastern neighbors. The head of the Prime Minister's office, Michał Dworczyk, also added that help for Ukrainians is offered not only in Poland, but also to all of those who remain in the besieged country.
The head of the Prime Minister's Chancellery emphasized that in addition to the government's actions from the first days of the Russian invasion, the huge commitment of non-governmental organizations and local government units to help on the spot in Ukraine has been visible. We are able to include in an orderly manner a number of entities, for example, non-governmental organizations, local governments, and companies which want to help our neighbors who are fighting for independence in Ukraine. Therefore, as part of the existing website pomagamukrainie.gov.pl, we are launching a central government platform for humanitarian aid coordination. The response of Polish society is huge. Not only the borders of the Polish state are open, but also homes and people's hearts. In Kraków, other facilities so far serving, for example as hotels, are gradually filling up with refugees from Ukraine. Women with children. There are also elderly people who also require medical care. We also try to help to bring a doctor or anything possible. In one of the hotels, we have all the cellars occupied for the gifts we collected here. They are also shared with those who live here. If we have a surplus, we supplement what is needed in Kraków, either shipping to the border or to some other hotel or facility. There is no shortage of people willing to help. help. Whenever the need arises, volunteers immediately report, for example, to set up camp beds, says Mr. Andrzej, who voluntarily helps in one of the hotels in Kraków. We have been provided with camp beds, and the people who are coming will have a place to sleep ready immediately. Everything is guaranteed if there is a need for food or drink. Everything is also secured by the Puhit company. The first approach was that there was everything, and now we are at least trying to target it. That is to make it necessary. We put our forms in there somewhere, and it actually gets delivered right away. Personal hygiene items, children's first aid, diapers, and other things. You don't have to wait long for gratitude, although no one expects it. Poles are heroes for us. They gave us a place where we can live, food, diapers for children. I am very grateful for your help and support in this difficult time of war. The forms of support vary. There are more online fundraisers. One of them concerns a single-family house in the Lubuskie region. The owner made it available to 20 people from Ukraine. The collection of money for the renovation of the interior and communal fees is in progress. The house belongs to a Pole of Ukrainian descent, Mr. Abo Sobota, a friend of our foundation, who said that a very slight renovation of the house is enough to accommodate about 4 or 5 families. Since the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, over 920,000 people have crossed the Polish-Ukrainian border. Yesterday, another record was set. The border guard made almost 130,000 checks.
And in response to Russia's aggression against Ukraine, the famous hacker group Anonymous has started yet another attack on a Russian administrative website. This is one more in a series from the group, who began its cyber war on Russia's leadership on the second day of the invasion.
The international hacker group Anonymous hacked the website of the Russian Federal Security Service. As a result of the conflict with Ukraine, Anonymous has launched several attacks against Russian governmental sites. Since launching their cyber war against the country, the hacktivists have targeted over 2,500 websites linked to both Russia and Belarus, pertaining to state-run media, banks, hospitals, airports, and companies. Even before the offensive against Russia was launched, Anonymous threatened to take hostage industrial control systems if the crisis escalated. Several warnings were also issued to the Russian president, warning of the wrath of hackers from across the globe.
And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky revealed that he has officially extended an invitation to Starlink and Tesla CEO Elon Musk to visit Ukraine. This after SpaceX has sent Starlink internet terminals to Ukraine, and the company has announced that more are on the way.
SpaceX CEO Elon Musk announced that Ukraine would receive more of its Starlink satellite internet terminals in the upcoming week, following talks with Volodymyr Zelensky. Talked to Elon Musk. I'm grateful to him for supporting Ukraine with words and deeds. Next week, we will receive another batch of Starlink systems for destroyed cities. Discussed possible space projects, but I'll talk about this after the war. The Ukrainian president also invited Musk to the country, stressing that this would be a possibility after the war.
So if you'll have time after the war, you're very welcome. I invite you.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, I look forward to visiting once things are...
Musk and SpaceX supplied Starlink terminals to Ukraine at the request of a government official after the Russian invasion crippled internet connection throughout the nation. A shipment of Starlink ground terminals arrived in Ukraine earlier in the week, and SpaceX assured they were working around the clock to keep the terminals operational.
As usual, thanks for joining us this evening. Please stay with us for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and other programs. But from me, it's have a great week ahead.